Many fans have been discussing how DreamWorks has been going downhill.
DreamWorks, what the hell is going on with y'all, man?
I mean, I did have my concerns about what was going to happen, but I still nonetheless couldn't be so disappointed by what has happened ever since.
Though not many people had high expectations for Trolls and Ruby Gillman, DreamWorks also ruined the studio's two main franchises. There was a big blow to the audience.
It looks like we're talking massive staffing cuts, outsourcing future projects to other companies.
Kung Fu Panda 4's opening weekend is tracking to make half of what the first one made in its opening weekend 15 years ago.
In response to this, many have said that the Wild Robot will save DreamWorks, or that if it's as good as the trailers say, it'll save their reputation, like as if the movie will be an apology of sorts. But this is not the case. People forget the reason we have been saying why they are going downhill in the first place. It's not about the movies being bad for a while, it's about them bringing franchises from their grave to make sequels that are either mid, like Kung Fu Panda 4, or just plain awful, like Megamind 2.
DreamWorks, man, what happened?
Megamind 2 was a mega failure, and it might have just destroyed this franchise.
Calling this an actual movie, like an honest-to-God sequel to Megamind, doesn't feel very appropriate.
What do I call it? A piece of shit.
Feels like nothing more than a quick cash grab of the studio.
It's predictable and unrewarding because the characterization feels pretty flat.
I expected something decent, but instead I got something that actually kind of pissed me off with its mediocrity.
With Megamind 2 absolutely dive-bombing in critical and audience response, Kung Fu Panda 4 making Dune Part 2 second banana at the box office, and the Wild Robot trailer promising more from their post-Bad Guys Puss in Boots 2 era, 2024 has been an interesting one for DreamWorks.
We didn't care that Ruby Gillman was whatever, or that Trolls 3 was, I don't know, I've only seen the first one. We care that Kung Fu Panda broke up their trilogy to make a whatever fourth film that was made only to create sequels with their new character. A TV movie and show created a decade late of a beloved classic, only to be completely nothing and a terrible continuation of the incredible film Megamind.
I personally think that there was no need for Kung Fu Panda 4, especially with the way that the trilogy was intricately crafted and put together.
Most people accept it as a satisfying conclusion, and the film overall felt pretty darn conclusive, so the announcement of a fourth Kung Fu Panda movie definitely left a lot of people rightfully skeptical.
I just don't think this was a film that needed to be made. It's not a complete betrayal of Kung Fu Panda as a franchise. It doesn't ruin it or anything.
But to see creative diminishing returns is a bummer. And I fear this might only get worse for DreamWorks as time goes on.
We thought they could do a Toy Story 4, which is a not needed continuation that I and many others believe didn't absolutely mess up the franchise and could act as a new final film, like a DLC of sorts to the original Toy Story trilogy. And their attempt was the lowly Kung Fu Panda 4, which could barely scratch the bottom of the surface of how good the original trilogy was, or even how Pixar crafted their other sequels in their sequel era of films. Even if The Wild Robot was somehow good, it wouldn't change the fact that they ruined these franchises from continuing without these obvious missteps. These aren't a Shrek the Third where you could just skip that film and not miss anything, where the next film quite literally recaps them having the kids in the opening montage, so there's nothing added from the third film. Unlike Kung Fu Panda 4, which adds a new character to be the Dragon Warrior, which changes these films entirely from every aspect, which is also just terrible considering how Tai Lung couldn't be the Dragon Warrior while Zin could. And Megamind, there's nothing that could save this one.
Oh, right, I'm a hero now.
Oh right, I forgot I'm not evil! Megamind vs. the Doom Syndicate, a direct-to-streaming original that had everything bad going for it you could possibly think of.
If you were to imagine the generic story of what is essentially a TV episode with a TV budget expanded to 90 minutes for some reason, yeah, the story's exactly how you'd expect.
It's a Peacock original. With Kung Fu Panda, you could at least see that the fourth film could set up a well-made fifth one, but with Megamind, you can't. Megamind vs. the Doom Syndicate is set mere days after the events of Megamind, also adding a small sidekick girl character, and ruining any of the well-made writing of the original film. So much so that the only way they can make a good sequel to Megamind is just to ignore this fever dream and just try again. We didn't just care that Puss in Boots: The Last Wish was an amazing film, we cared that it was a sign of a new era of DreamWorks. That they would be incredible when creating new sequels, even to the fact that they teased Shrek 5 at the end of their film.
I can't believe how good it is.
This movie not only made us excited for its own greatness, but for the future of the franchise and the whole goddamn studio. And so I say no, The Wild Robot won't save them. or redeem them, or any of that. What would save them is if they clean up their act and made a good movie with one of their beloved franchises. Because that's what got us in this mess in the first place. That's what caused the DreamWorks problem, and that'll be what they need to save it. Whether it's an amazing Shrek 5, Puss in Boots 3, How to Train Your Dragon 4, or even Kung Fu Panda 5, we'll just have to wait and see. Now if you excuse me, I have a video to work on, one that's about a very famous panda, and more importantly, one of his somewhat underrated villains, one that deserved to be the Dragon Warrior more than randomly inserted Aquafina Wolf, the great and mighty Tai Lung. Stay tuned, cuties.